Recount Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?
You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Ding dong. Hello?
Everybody three count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I didn't get here because I was cute, or because I came from some famous wrestling family, or because I sucked up to the right people. I got here because I am good. I earned this championship.
Frustrated into the goddamn word for it. This is bullshit.
Brett made a very, very selfish decision. Brett's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. Brett screwed Brett. I have no sympathy whatsoever for Brett.
This is my show, and I'm sick of all of you calling me the coward. You're the cowards. I'm the one here day in and day out in that wrestling ring beating people up. Thank you very much.
I don't steal opportunities. I am the opportunity.
3 ain't enough now. I need 5. Welcome in, Jim.
I'm an idiot.
Ryan.
I'm a sausage guy.
Matt.
Who gives a shit?
Tim.
Right on the cock.
And intern Mark.
Hi, boys.
I'm going to tell y'all with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 3 Count Thursday. First show in June 2021. It is June the 3rd. We are still the podcast of the millennium. We have tons to talk about this week. Make sure you go to 3countthursday.com. It's our homepage. You'll find our social media links, our YouTube channel, our merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net.
What a maneuver.
Thank you, Tim. We also have our Patreon page, our Collar and Elbow brand deal, our home network, of course, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com, and our secondary network is the Leave Sports and Music Network. Ryan, where can they find the Leave Sports and Music Network?
That's LEEIBsports.com.
That would absolutely be the one. In our intro every week, I chuckle when it's the AJ Lee clip, because all I can think about is when Matt referenced the Bellas and I quote honking. So it makes me chuckle every single week during the intro. So Matt,
it was so brutal. They were like, say that to my face as she's talking to their faces.
How you doing, Matt?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's almost Friday, short week this week. Didn't get a chance to make it to Roots Market. I know Mark and I had plans, so he ate my lemon whoopie pies, which I'm not happy about, but I will persevere.
All right. Well, I'm proud of you for fighting on. Tim,
how you doing? I'm good. I'm real good. I'm enjoying my tasty Zoa Superberry. Superberry. It's I'm trying to see what's all in this berry deal. It doesn't really say, but I'm sure it's blueberry because it's blue and everything else. But other than that, I'm just excited for the weekend. I'm ready to do stuff, and I'm so excited now that like the world starts to get more vaccinated, which means more stuff is opening up, which means I get to do more hood rat stuff with my hood rat friends, and I'm excited about it. And shout out to Brittany in the chat.
Yes, we will definitely. We need to have her on again soon. One of these pay-per-view prediction shows. We'll
Or
get her
not,
back in
just
here.
whenever. We
Or
need to
just
talk to her
whenever.
about her new life and
Right?
how she's deep in the fart of Texas now, and you know everything's good. She's
growing up, Tim.
She's
One of
back
those
on.
girls growing up.
She's back
Right
on her
before our
She's
eyes.
back on her Insta. She's back on her TikToking. It's good stuff. I'm glad to see it.
Devin out of his cast, fully vaccinated as well. so
Good.
exciting times for Devin. If you're following along with this live video, give it a like and a share. We'd appreciate that.
Was it a dong cast? What did he break?
His
dong.
arm, because
I thought it was.
well, it was his arm because his dong was so big when it
That's
broke.
how he counts to 3 when he's reffing.
Doesn't
I'll
even
never
have,
forget the time.
he just squats down and drops it low.
I've seen it 3 times.
Devin was trying to count to 21 the one time and got cited for indecent exposure.
Whenever Ryan is putting those candy cigarettes in his mouth, he looks like somebody's uncle telling him how to car parts, fix your carburetor or something. Uncle Ryan today.
Ryan,
How you doing?
I got to go down to the O'Reillys. Tell them you know me. I know the manager. I'm doing so good. I just rediscovered my love for candy cigarettes tonight. I'm using the Roundup brand candy cigarette. It's a great candy cigarette.
Roundup like in the weed spray, like the
yes.
It's probably just as good for
weed
you.
killer.
It's a
Probably the
good for
same
you
company.
candy. Only 48 calories.
So Ryan,
fat-free candy right here. It's so good for you.
would the candy cigarettes make your top 5 Halloween candy were we to redraft?
No one's giving out candy cigarettes for Halloween. I might this year, but nobody else would.
That
those
wasn't my
unfiltered?
question. I didn't ask if you thought that it would make a resurgence with parents. I asked if you
They
specifically
should. They're
would
delicious.
put them in your top 5.
Yeah, sure. Why not? They're really tasty.
It would have to knock out the Wonka bar, obviously.
Well, naturally, which nobody also gives out.
My favorite thing, and we're still on you full screen, Ryan, is
Why?
because
wants to see this.
Because I'm making a point that my favorite part about people having like the cigarette like item in their mouth is that it bounces when they talk. And I just
I smoked for
immediately-
years.
I
It's
know.
pretty easy to talk with a cigarette in your mouth.
I'd never know, but
You are very articulate. Like, and it's been a while. How long has it been since you quit?
I quit August 18th, 2014.
Praise.
So we're
Okay,
pushing
so we're
7
coming up on
years.
7 years.
7 years.
You're still very articulate with the candy.
Probably
cigarette.
more articulate now because I have to watch what my mouth is doing so it doesn't fall out of my mouth. I would hate to lose this candy cigarette.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't lose them. They are fantastic.
No, you can't. You can't. You can move it to one side to the other with your. It's
Look
great
at
stuff.
you
doing tricks with his mouth.
Man.
Don't need to say that on the podcast again.
fancy. Intern Mark.
How you doing?
Hi, boys. I'm doing real good. Real good. I did make it to Roots this week.
Oh, hi.
Matt. Hi, boys. Matt, I'm sorry about the lemon whoopie pie, but I just didn't want you to have a day old. Day old whoopie
Fair.
pies are just not the same.
They are not.
Vernon had the strawberry whoopie pies back this week. I was glad to see that. Little Wayne was there to serve them up. That's Vernon's son. Little Wayne, not the rapper, but he's a little omelet, little Amish boy. And Ryan, did they still call you Smokey? You've been smoke free for 7 years.
No, I switched stores and nobody calls me Smokey anymore.
Well, I'll be darned.
In fact, I wasn't ever called Smokey when I actually smoked, so it was a bad nickname from the word go.
Is it? But I feel like it's maybe one of those like ironic nicknames, like when the fat guy's called Tiny.
Yeah, sure, that's what it was.
Big Tiny. Tiny and
Luckily,
Smokey.
thank God I avoided the nickname Tiny in my life.
Yeah, I was
I
never
mean,
called
your
Frank.
name is Tim. I got what
I
you're
know,
going.
so it's like it's a double.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Right.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's not start. Let's not start putting that together. I think the
Did you
only
have,
reason. I think the only reason I saved it was because my actual name is Tim Taylor, so I couldn't be both Tiny Tim and the Tool Man.
You'd be surprised. Tiny Tim Taylor actually goes really well.
He rolls off really
That
well.
does.
You know what? Shut up.
I don't think so, Tim.
Shout out to, in the background, we're putting Mark full screen again. The Sprout phone.
Jeez.
You guys need to call me. It's right there.
Is that that's a real phone?
That's a real, actual working telephone.
Do you have a landline in Hottenstein Estates?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Wow.
I have the Sprout phone. When I got this, I told my loving daughter any phone call she needs to make to anybody has to be made on that phone.
How'd that go over?
She got a cell phone
not
immediately.
too well.
She got a.
She lost a lot of friends.
She writes by letter. She does the old snail mail.
She got a cell phone immediately.
Your kids, I've met both of your children. They are the sweetest, kindest people in the world. They have a great father who raised them, but it's got to be tough to be those kids.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I mean,
I get warned sometimes at public events. Don't do anything stupid. Don't say anything. Don't act up.
And I feel like that's like a general like discussion that at a certain age kids have with their parents. But I feel like it's a much more serious conversation over at Hottenstein Estates.
I one time we were going to church and my daughter said, "Dad, don't act crazy in here." So I was going into church.
Oh my gosh.
I did thank the priest at the end for having us. I said, "Thank you for having us." And he looked at me weird and just kept shaking hands.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I said, "Thank you for having us."
I love it. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't have you any other way.
No.
Oh, you guys, man.
You are one of a kind. All right, let's
Matt,
move
what
on.
is your smoothie today? Did I miss that? What are we drinking?
No, I hadn't mentioned it's a spinach, mango, banana, and avocado.
Oh.
Oh, an avocado.
What are you? That sounds pretty tasty. Ryan, what are you drinking tonight? Just straight up water?
It's usually water. I do have a tasty cherry Pepsi can.
Ooh.
And 2 bottles of water I'll probably go through.
Nice.
2 bottles of water.
2
See,
bottles
I
of
will
water.
I will choose Coke over Pepsi all the time, except when it's the cherry.
Absolutely,
Then I
that is the
always
correct
take
answer.
Cherry Pepsi.
Cherry
Yeah.
Pepsi is greater than cherry Coke.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a Mountain Dew fan if I was drinking something like at a restaurant and they serve Pepsi. But to round out like the buy 3 you have to get at the supermarket, it's usually 2 Mountain Dews and 1 cherry Pepsi, and I'm very happy with that decision.
Very, very tasty. Intern Mark, do you have a beverage, Intern Mark? We know Tim's drinking the Rocks energy drink or whatever it is.
Be respectful.
I have some Moulin Springs water over here. Is it Moulin Springs or Poland Springs?
Moldy Springs?
I think it's called Moulin
Poland
Springs.
Spring.
I remember.
Oh, maybe it's
Poland.
Poland. I thought it was Moulin.
No, I think at Roots they sell Moland Springs water.
Yeah, over at the Amish Starbucks, the A-Bucks, they have Moulin Spring water.
Here we go.
It's not so bad. Did you want it frozen? Sometimes they give it to you completely frozen. I'm not joking. They've given me bottles of water that are completely frozen full of hot.
I thought you meant they just literally handed you like a block of ice.
Might as well have.
Well, they could have.
They could have.
Big Jim, how are you?
For that to melt.
I'm doing better today. Yesterday, not so great. Some unfortunate personal news, but I'm glad to be talking with you boys today. Definitely doing much better. So, looking forward to things. Looking forward to the future, and glad to be here talking some wrestling with my favorite group. Thank you, Devin, for asking that as well here in the chat. Appreciate that. So yeah, if you're with us in the live video, throw some comments, some chats up there. We'll get to them throughout the show as well. So let's get into it with our one of our weekly segments. We are looking at June the 3rd, of course, in pro wrestling history. One birthday, Braxton Sutter, born today in 1980. Then we go back to 1991. Steve Austin defeats Bobby Eaton for the WCW television title, Birmingham, Alabama. It would be Austin's first singles championship in WCW and ended Eaton's only reign with the television title. 1996, the Monday Night Wars continued with WCW's Nitro defeating WWF's Raw 3.0 to 2.3. Raw featured Jake Roberts defeating Triple H, the Godwins defeating Techno Team 2000, Mankind defeating Barry Horowitz, and Steve Austin defeating Bob Holly. Nitro offered the Steiners defeating Sting and Lex Luger via disqualification, Scott Norton defeating Hugh Morris, the Giant defeating Ice Train, Ric Flair and Arn Anderson defeating the Rock and Roll Express, Kevin Sullivan defeating Prince Iakea, Steven Regal defeating Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Craig Pittman defeating Disco Inferno, the Faces of Fear defeating High Voltage, and John Tenta defeating Bubba Rogers via countout. 2003, Rey Mysterio defeats Matt Hardy for the WWE Cruiserweight title in Anaheim, California, beginning his 6th run with the title, but his first run with the belt since it had become a WWE title. His 5 previous reigns, of course, when the belt was part of WCW. 2004, after 2 years as a pay-per-view only company, the very first episode of TNA Impact airs on Fox Sports Net. The show, which was taped in Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, would later move from its Friday afternoon slot on FSN to a late night Saturday slot on Spike TV, before becoming a late night Thursday show for Spike, and finally becoming a primetime show on Thursdays. The show would also see the debut of the 6-sided ring in TNA. And finally, 2007, WWE's 3rd annual One Night Stand pay-per-view took place in the Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida, in front of 7,000 fans. The show had a buy rate of 188,000. The tagline of the show was Extreme Rules, featuring talent from Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. The show had 1 dark match, 8 main card matches, and was main evented by John Cena defeating the Great Khali in a Falls Count Anywhere match to retain the WWE Championship. Those were the events that occurred June the 3rd in pro wrestling history. What quite a barn burner that One Night Stand was.
I didn't realize there was 3 of them.
I think there was actually more. I don't even think that was the only the it wasn't the 3rd and final. Charlie says all 5 of us need destrucity in our lives. Don't we all, Charlie?
No.
Don't we all?
I can pass on all destrucity.
I think we
Tim,
I think we all can.
I could probably fix them up for you next Tuesday at Roots.
No, I'm okay. Because I'm sure if you do, it's just going to be frozen. So I'd rather, if I have to, I'd rather have it fresh and not frozen.
Yeah, you don't want frozen or my God, it's spoiled destrucity. We definitely don't want that. You want fresh destrucity.
Isn't that Queen Strike song, Silent Destrucity?
Something like that, yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
Is that it? That's what I thought.
Or was it the? I thought that was the System of a Down song.
Yeah, that's
Destrucity of this. Yeah, that's it. Actually,
something like that.
Nailed it.
All right, let's before we get to our weekly nominations for the rest of the week, those are actually going to come a little bit later.
Can we just wrap this show up a while? This is going way too long for my liking today.
Ryan, just have another roundup, and I think you'll be all right.
That's my last one.
Oh no,
I'm done.
You got to pace them
already.
I'm laying them down.
Man, you need to pace yourself. It's a 2-hour plus show here.
You're gonna get lightheaded now.
Mm-hmm.
Not good.
My God.
There it goes.
It's seeming what is unfortunately seeming to become a almost weekly occurrence here as of late. WWE came to terms yesterday on the releases of Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. There had been some rumors of possibly more, but as of now, that is not the case. And we'll talk about maybe some of the potentially bigger picture the coming out of this and the releases that we've seen both in the superstar realm and also the behind the scenes world for the WWE. But I think the one for me, guys, that sticks out the most in terms of these releases has to be Braun Strowman. You know, love him, hate him, think he was overrated, whatever, and we can even get into you know where all the standing from these superstars were, but I mean, Braun's a guy who, you know, Universal Champion, you know, featured on the Saudi shows, which love or hate those. I mean, they are a big deal financially for the WWE. You know, just wrestled one of the, I mean, some would argue the greatest superstar in the WWE today, WrestleMania this year, and just, I mean, WrestleMania Backlash was, you know, in a title match, and now just a couple weeks later out of the company. So that one was probably the most, and Alistair obviously with the reinvent, you know, the relaunching of his character on SmackDown just a couple weeks ago. Definitely the most shocking, but just another grouping in the list of talent releases and employee releases for the WWE here of late.
Yeah, I don't. It's business, I guess. I mean, I'm not super surprised whenever I see the future endeavors list come out. I think there's always a couple that are like, oof, wouldn't have got rid of them. But I feel like these always work out pretty okay for the WWE. You know, everybody's like, oh, they're gonna make the WWE pay by terminating him, and he'll go to AEW and be the greatest thing. And he's just the best man. You know, I feel like these things always seem to work out fine for everybody involved. It's wild though that there were so many recent people on this list. I know you spoke directly about Braun. I mean, Mania match against the GOAT of all of times. I'm not going to say it, Jim.
I'm
you put your hand on your mouse because you thought
I'm
I was going to say it,
just in case somebody
I wouldn't do it. Not going to do it. Lana wrestled at WrestleMania. Finally got over one table at a time, but by God, she got over. Ruby Riott wrestled at WrestleMania in the tag team turmoil match. Everybody probably should have been fired for being involved in that match. Santana Garrett, I don't think ever, you know, got the chance to really shine with what she had. Buddy Murphy, look at the last year, how much he was involved with the Mysterios and slamming Ray's daughter and being with the church guy Seth Rollins, and then Alistair just repackaged. I think he just debuted again last Friday, like actually physically showed up and Gonzo. So
for some reason they weren't on at all last week, which seemed
yeah.
odd.
You know what? You can't keep all the shit happening straight in my head because I watch so much wrestling from week to week. It just gets lost in there. So
all right, I'm
that
doing my
explains
job
why I
as
saw it.
the host.
You're doing a good job. Yeah, so it's business, not surprising.
If we're talking about the Aleister Black stuff,
Shane McMahon,
the best in the world.
Sorry.
Shane McMahon.
I am sorry.
Sure.
I don't
Yep.
think you are.
I don't think you are either.
It slipped right out of my face hole.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Gotta be the cigarettes.
For
I'll
sure.
mute myself. I'm sorry.
You're
It
okay.
is. It's the cigarettes, Ryan. We're all
You're
concerned about.
okay. You're all
Nicotine
right.
high.
Yeah, I know, right? So much. But in the way of Aleister Black, so Aleister's been streaming on his wife's Twitch channel, just kind of answering questions from his fans, and he was talking pretty candidly about stuff like he has a shirt that's available for pre-order on WWEshop.com right now.
People tweeting about that yesterday.
He had new gear made for
Oh.
this run. He has a new theme.
I heard about that.
New theme that they never got to use.
That apparently, as he said, I believe, his best yet.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, his original one was a fucking banger.
Well, apparently, the reason why they had to change the theme is because WWE didn't have the rights to it, but he does.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he has that. He has the rights to that theme.
Like that was that band, right? Code Orange, Agent Code something.
I don't think it was it. That's Bray Wyatt's theme.
Agent Orange.
Code
Orange. I thought Code Orange did his NXT theme. Which
I
he
think
brought
they
up with him.
performed it, but I don't think.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Code Orange. Wasn't Aleister Black in one of those War Game matches in NXT?
War games! War games! War games! War games!
Mark, you know you got to say it backwards, so we don't have a clip for that.
War Games backwards. Game Wars.
War games! War games! War games!
He never performed in one. Kyle O'Reilly did.
So I just want everyone to know I've just been an innocent bystander. I've just been sitting here. I've been letting the flow of show traffic move on. But the Joker to my right here on the screen and the one above him are the ones who just want to derail any positive momentum that takes place on the podcast with their sound bites and their Regal touching and their McMahon loving. Good for them. It's all them. You can address all your... I'm just here watching Impact in the background because apparently a former WWE star is debuting tonight, and I want to be able to break news when it happens.
And I'm just trying to break bread with
Sure,
you.
uh-huh. Yep.
Wasn't Bobby Lashley was in TNA, wasn't he?
Bobby! He was a champion.
That's when they couldn't find him that night when they're getting ready to go live. They sent Mr. Brady out looking for him. They were looking for Bobby.
Bobby!
Where did they ever find Bobby that night?
He was out at the Grand Canyon with the little Indian boy.
Okay, no, we're not gonna do. We're not. Tim, I'm sorry. He's been muted.
It's okay.
So let's get back on track.
Yeah, but especially with Braun Strowman, Braun might still be graded on like 2 year ago lens. While he was in the main event picture or in the title hunt as much as WrestleMania Backlash is concerned, his height of powers it's gone. Like when they did not give him the title against Brock, the bloom fell off that rose. Braun was not the same, and they could not capitalize on the Choo Choo Man's powers. And also now with other giants, there's an actual dude almost that is a foot taller than Braun Strowman. What is that gonna do?
Well, and I feel like part of
Who was taller than him?
Shanky almost. Commander Aziz. All bigger and taller than Braun Strowman.
And I mean, kudos to Braun for getting himself in just Jesus God, just getting himself in like absolutely ridiculously good shape, especially given what he was when he first came into WWE. But like, I feel like that was part of the Braun quote unquote mystique, was that he was as big as he was, but he was also still kind of agile. I mean, I've regularly tweeted how much I loved a man the size of Braun Strowman running as quickly as he did. He has been supplanted now by Chris Jericho's butterball ass running like he did in the Stadium Stampede. But after they didn't capitalize on Braun and didn't give him the title back when they probably should have. Obviously he got the title last year at Mania, partially because of COVID and Roman Reigns going away for a little while. But and Matt, we'll get obviously your thoughts on all of these. But like for me, was Braun Strowman, he whether he won the title when he did or when he should have, but like, was this the shelf life of Braun Strowman? Like when you look back at the Ultimate Warrior's career in the WWE, the initial peak and then decline, and it went away because he wasn't great in the ring. He was what he was. He was a character. Braun was a character. Did they squeeze all they could out of Braun Strowman?
They stripped away everything that was unique about Braun Strowman. Here's a bodybuilder that came in. The Bray thing happened. Post that, he was like this country strong big character, the everyday man, and then he became like ripped gym guy, and he just blended in on a roster. There was nothing unique about him anymore.
Yeah,
I think that,
and they absolutely missed the boat. The guy was white hot.
Yeah,
white hot. I mean, and I think we look back at multiple missed opportunities with the WWE and say, they really, really fumbled that.
Yeah.
A year and a half before he touched the championship belt, he should have had the championship belt.
Right.
When he was running through jobbers, like he made James Ellsworth, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Boy, that's a tall order.
And I feel like the Saudi Premier Championship or whatever the hell it was, the green title, I feel like that was like their make good that year for not giving him the
wasn't that
title.
for the Greatest Royal Rumble?
Was it? I don't even remember those shows.
I think that's all it was.
But like he was the only one that ever got a championship belt for winning the Greatest Royal, because there's been multiple Greatest Royal Rumbles, I think. Or has there only been one?
There's only been one.
There's only been one.
So he's the only one. But again, those
But
shows.
from that, everybody remembers Titus.
Right. They don't remember him winning in the green title. They remember Titus falling through the apron. So
what championship? Well, I know I'm not even going to say it. What means less, the Blood Money Championship or like the FTW Championship or the $1 Million Champion? Like what? They're all make believe championships that never really were recognized.
Blood Money one. At least the $1 Million title's been featured in storylines. Could potentially be featured, here in a couple weeks in NXT. Sure. I mean, the FTW title, you at least see it on AEW. Like Braun got that title and we never saw it again. Like why was it even a thing? Matt,
because it was the greatest of the Royal Rumbles.
That's true. Matt, your thoughts on the releases and everything this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we initially talked, none were really super surprising aside from Braun and Alistair. Disappointing, sure. I think that there was a lot left that they could have done with some of the people. People were finally starting to give a shit about Lana. So that, and the Riot Squad never really took off, despite being one of the few like actual women's tag teams in a division that is so desperate to put over their tag team division. Didn't really make sense why they didn't seize that opportunity, but before I get too critical of WWE, let me stop here.
Tap the brakes.
But yeah, I mean, I think with Braun, like you guys said, a lot of missed opportunities there. I think that people were so desperate to see anyone but Roman for that feud that Braun was kind of at his peak right there. I think he's been riding him flipping the ambulance with Roman inside it for a couple years now, and it's just like that was a huge moment, and then it just went nowhere. And you could say that with a lot of feuds with Braun Strowman throughout his career. I was never a huge Braun fan, but I mean, he certainly won me over because he could do spots like those. He was believable in certain feuds, and they just were like, all right, big guy, go do this, pick things up, put things down type thing. Eventually just became his shtick, and that's not a great shtick to have in the WWE.
I'm not finished with you.
Yeah, and obviously, it sucks. Anytime anybody loses their job, it is horrible, whether it's WWE or anywhere. It's never a fun conversation. It's never anything they want to talk about. But the thing I it's kind of I don't want to say necessarily like revisionist history, but I can't necessarily think of a better way to describe it. Like seeing some of the reactions from people yesterday, like don't get me wrong, like obviously Braun, it was surprising. Alistair surprising given that they were relaunching him. But like I saw a lot of people like talking about how like Lana was treated unfairly, like how they're missing this huge boat, and they did miss the boat with Braun Strowman, but like almost acting as if Lana was going to be a like WrestleMania main eventer just because like she was released. And like I just again I don't ever want to see people lose their job, especially abruptly. But I always find like when Lana's getting a push on Raw, the reaction I see is like, oh my God, why is she getting a push when Naomi's out there and Ruby Riot's out there and Liv Morgan's out there, and there's so many other great women in the WWE. Or when Braun's getting that WrestleMania push, whether it's last year for the title or this year versus Shane, it's oh, there's so many people they can use instead of Braun, and then they get released and they're like, oh my gosh, we love them so much. I'm like, did you? I mean, I get there's ebbs and flows in fan bases, but sometimes the reactions to the decisions that WWE makes, and again, never like to see people get released and people lose their job, but sometimes I've found like the day of release reactions interesting.
It's also along the same lines of, if you look at those people who were released, unfortunately, WWE already had their replacement, or they're close to their player comparison already lined up. Braun's gone. You've got your giant. Buddy Murphy's gone. So you bring up Mansoor.
Right.
Mansoor takes Buddy Murphy's spot. Lana is Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Santana Garrett is Frankie Monet.
Fair.
Ruby Riot is Rhea Ripley. Alternate looking female.
I mean, yeah.
There are player comparisons.
Right, like Ruby was
person.
never booked in that spot, but I see what you're saying.
Correct, but then that means that Ruby Riot's the upgrade.
Right.
Or not Ruby Riot, Rhea Ripley is the upgrade.
Right.
And who am I missing that was not? Oh, Aleister Black.
Aleister Black.
He's the only person who really doesn't have the... Unless Karrion Kross is about to get called up. And then if it's Karrion Kross is less explosive Aleister Black.
Right. Yeah. Did you see Booker T's comments on Aleister Black, by the way?
No, I did not.
Man, he's a bit, I don't know.
He said something along the lines of like, part of the reason why Aleister Black didn't work out in WWE is because he didn't set himself apart enough from the rest of the roster. I was like,
what a dumb comment.
I'm like, wait, what?
Well, there's a reason why Booker T is still under contract with WWE and why guys like The Big Show and Mark Henry are seeking greener pastures. Like, obviously, Booker T is going to say something to side with the company line.
Shucky ducky quack quack.
Easy. Easy money. Booker's going to stay on that side, and that's perfectly fine. And to a certain degree, he might be right because there could be things backstage. But as far as his presentation went,
right, from a fan perspective, I'm hearing the comment and I'm looking at, and really, I mean, the only anywhere close to comparisons that you can make between Alistair are probably like the Fiend and Bray Wyatt,
mm-hmm.
and like the Undertaker, and that's it.
Right. And
like
even
there's
then,
really nobody else in
Yeah.
that wavelength, you know.
And even then, it was the WWE that took away Alistair's cool
Mordecai.
stuff. It was WWE that took away Alistair's cool stuff. They took away his raise up in the coffin.
Right.
They took that away. They changed his theme, which was super cool and everybody was into.
Added a sound effect, which wasn't necessary.
I was cool.
You don't
I
like
was
those
cool
sound
with the
effects,
creek.
Ryan?
I was cool with the creek.
You seem to have just an issue in general with sound effects.
Sound
hater.
effects, masks. You don't. it's all-
Maybe Braun can have a choo-choo right in the middle of his fucking mat.
See, I don't
Hold
believe.
on.
Not
Maybe there's
during
something
the
going on here.
not during the match, but if it's in the entrance, what does it matter?
Ryan's just not a
Don't
fan.
need it.
He's not a
Don't
fan of
need
that.
it.
We're the little birds.
The birds are stupid as shit too. I hate all of those graphics, honestly.
Well, they're gonna probably go away once the Thunderdome's over.
Thank God.
Yeah,
they had him at Mania.
Might hang around. They did some of those.
Did they have the pigeons at Mania?
Yeah, they had the big pirate hanging above like the.
Well, that they've always
Well,
had
that was to fill the upstairs gap where
Oh,
people
was that-
weren't
oh.
sitting too, or at least where there was minimal seating. But I think they did like the they did some of the, not as many.
Asuka
They-
always gets the masks.
Right, but entrances they've always done the entrance things. Roman always has his thing.
Big Uwaka.
Bobby Lashley's got his thing now.
Right.
Asuka's got her thing. Oh my lord.
Shouldn't have said it.
Well,
I gotta go.
it's who he is.
Bobby.
I can't help that
Bobby.
that's his name.
I mean, you're right, and I can't help that I have to hit the button.
I mean,
You
you
could just
could
say
have helped.
Lashley.
No.
Yeah, you can say it. Say Lashley. He won't hit it.
Well, I don't want to say Lashley.
All right.
His mama named him Roberto, so I'm gonna call him by his short name.
That's fair. That's
Robert.
fair. Did
I
this?
gotta get the Roberto sound clip from the water bowl.
Roberto.
Did this round of cuts and like the other one or two where we saw some other specifically female wrestlers get cut, did this effectively kill the tag team division on the main roster?
I mean,
if you look at the SmackDown roster for women right now,
there's 7 women.
it's not many. Tim, you're smart. Name the 7.
Okay, do you have them listed?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm seeing 8 listed.
The 8.
Sonya Deville is 1.
Okay, so
Not active. She
and this
was
is
1. So
this is SmackDown only.
SmackDown. We're looking for the SmackDown 7.
Okay, so that's Natalia, Tamina, Liv Morgan, Bailey, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, and Carmella.
That is the SmackDown 7.
It is.
Boy,
Well done.
Tim's good.
What
Well,
division?
Well done.
I mean, it's not a bad division.
Not a bad division, but if
But
you're gonna
that's
have,
7. And here's
It's bare bones for sure.
right.
tell me what WWE would do if the men's division were 7 wrestlers.
Thank you.
If there were 7 dudes on SmackDown, which
There's
I'm not
apparently only
saying
7 dudes on Raw.
I'm not saying there's 7 dudes that are worth a damn on SmackDown. I'm saying 7 total dudes on SmackDown.
They would have Raw.
They would have nothing. They wouldn't even have an indie show.
They would have Raw pulling in their 1.1, whatever the fuck rating they got this past week.
It is insane. And Raw's probably not much better as
1,
far
2,
as women
3,
go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Is it 10?
11, including Eva Marie.
Okay, so
So there are
11 with
10.
3.
Let's name the other 10.
Okay, let me see if I can. There's Charlotte, Rhea, Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Naomi.
And that's the Raw 10.
There it is.
But then, if Raw
and then you
had
got Alexa
10,
not wrestling.
Yeah.
Right, she's not wrestling.
And
if someone
Nikki
has
Cross
to be
is
in
doing
tag
one-minute
matches
challenges.
because you have to have tag matches, and Nikki Cross is banging out 2-minute matches.
It's
how did the AEW women's division become the better division? How did this happen?
Well, I think
because
the
NXT still
division is better.
exists.
I mean, NXT is better, but
also NXT's women's division right now, and this is embarrassing, I can't tell you who the NXT women's champion is right now.
Yeah, you can.
I literally
definitely
I just thought about it.
It's Lady Diesel.
Saying I didn't know jogged my memory. But it wasn't to the front. It wasn't to the front of my head, considering
Can you name
she's on the
5
screen.
women? Can you name 5 women in NXT right now?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
easy.
Okay.
Now-
so you just drew a blank on the champion.
Yes, I drew a blank on the champion because I'm like, who is it? Now it's kind of embarrassing because she's literally on the screen, and like I built the graphic.
It's okay. It happens.
You made a mistake, Tim.
It's okay. But even then, there's a lot of women in NXT, but who's being focused? What is what? So much so that like the women's champion doesn't really have a dance partner right now, does she?
EO as a rematch.
Isn't she facing Mercedes at?
Yeah, she's got Mercedes.
In your house.
Yes.
But Mercedes got marked by Tien Sha, right?
She did get marked.
Mercedes got the black mark, the black X, like she can't drink at the club. She got the X deal.
That was one of like
She
the
can't
great
drink.
things about the NXT women's division is the fact that you have your title storyline, but you have other things going on, which has probably been one of the biggest indictments of the main rosters. Women's
Who are is it the way the tag team champions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Candice and Indy.
And really, outside of them, it's just Shotzi and Ember, right? It's the only other like tag team that worth a damn down there right now.
Wasn't Aaliyah with somebody? Aaliyah was with Vanessa Bourne, then they split up, and then somebody else.
Well, Bourne's gone, right?
Bourne is gone. By the way, watching
was CrossFit chick and
oh yeah, Caden and
Caden,
Mighty Casey.
Casey Covizaro. Yeah.
By the way, watching Impact, jeez, former Big Cass W. Morrissey looks like $1 bazillion right now. He is cut up. He looks like Test in a different life. He just looks so good right now.
It helps that like everybody but Moose in that company is about 4'10" too. It helps.
Oh, but he just
Jim,
looks.
you're acting like Sammy Callahan's not tall.
Wait, when did he get tall? Did he put lifts in his boots? All right. The other thing.
Solomon Crow. I'm sorry, that's the name you would probably remember.
Solomon Crow,
the Hacker Man.
The other big hypothesis that's been coming out from a lot of people over the last, especially now the last 24 hours, but I actually had this as a topic before yesterday's releases even happened.
Yeah, we believe.
Don't you fucking give me that look.
Yeah.
Don't give me that sass. Because we've seen a lot of cuts on the business side, on the corporate side, on the office side. The selling, the network sell to Peacock. Do you think WWE is positioning themselves for a sale? Not necessarily imminent. I think there's people that think we're going to wake up tomorrow or next week and there's going to be news about the WWE being sold to NBC Universal or Disney or something like that. I think this is more 6 months, a year, 2 years from now when Vince finally is retiring or whatever, that it's just the company is going to sell. I've seen a lot of people thinking that this is the WWE positioning themselves for that. Do you think that's something they're doing or looking at this point?
I just find it really hard to believe that there's going to come a day when somebody related to a McMahon doesn't own the WWE. Just that seems wild to me. I don't know. How do you even sell it? Is that I don't even know how it works. Like as a publicly traded company.
See, that's
like who absorbs like the shares of that. Just there's so much to do, and I know it happens all the time. Businesses by business, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm just ignorant to how it happens. But yeah, fuck it. I'll say within the next 3 years.
But then my question then.
All right, 5 years. You changed my mind.
Okay. My question is, if it does go to an NBC or a Disney or something along those lines, how does that even work? Because the only person who can run the WWE is Vince McMahon. If they sell it, who's going to run it? Is it Triple H?
What happens when Vince retires or dies?
See, that's the next question.
He won't die.
Oh, he's going to die.
He's
Pretty sure scientifically he's going to die.
Like, I mean, I think we've all kind of assumed, or at least I have, that it would be Triple H or Stephanie and or Shane.
Right, but even then, I don't think Shane could run the company. No offense. His son, Shane, oldest sibling to the McMahon family, Shane.
Shane.
Yes.
Here we go. That's Shane. That's the Shane. And I think it would be more like a team of people. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how.
But
who makes the final? Who makes that final call on things? Who's sitting in the daddy chair?
Right.
At Monday Night Raw and at SmackDown and in meetings and
Dick Wolf.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he does have a great empire of shows, so maybe
he sure does.
Maybe he'd bring back Fandango and Breezango as the police sleuths.
But there's so many things that are up in the air about who would go to what to who. Like, what happens with NXT? Does NXT split out from WWE and become its own thing before WWE goes and gets sold?
Man, honestly, if we're looking at a sale, could this be the death of WWE if it gets put in the hands of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing? I don't know, like a WCW Time Warner Media thing, where somebody is just as an executive is like, you know what, we're done with wrestling. It's not as profitable as we think. Their shows are doing like a 1.2, 1.3 in the ratings, and I get ratings don't matter, but here they probably do. It's just, you know what, it's done. We're done with it. And then what happens then? They just fold the WWE and just like that is gone?
Because what if the president of NBC Universal changes and the new president doesn't see a place for wrestling? And then they sell the WWE and its entire tape library to Tony Khan for $1 million.
Jim would die.
I'm out.
But isn't that exactly what happened with WCW? Exactly what happened with WCW. Now, the difference is that in 2001, buyouts and things of that nature are a little less expensive. I don't know what AOL purchased Time Warner for. I don't know. I don't remember what that is. I don't know what it would be with inflation. But right now, WWE, let's say, and this was just spitballing from, I was listening to Sean Ross Sapp, who's been a god right now with breaking some of this information. Like, he's doing the Lord's work, as someone like to say.
He is absolutely my preferred source.
It's for me, it's Mike Johnson, and then after Mike Johnson, it's Sean Ross
Yeah,
Sapp.
Johnston's solid too.
And then literally everyone else can just, because I feel like if it's not those two, everybody else is breaking one of their news.
Right.
Or Ryan Satin, but he gets stuff directly from WWE. And like he's a low third to me. But Sapp was talking about how, Nick Khan is the guy who was responsible for the Fox deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible for the Peacock deal. And what if he's trying to get the valuation of the company to a set number? Like the company's got to be worth X amount of dollars. That means certain people got to get cut to get the number down to the number was 4.5. Now, granted, they've also cut people behind the scenes, but they've cut the live event division. Like off the books. Digital is practically gone. They're cutting large contracts from people because Braun, you have to think Braun, Ruby, Alistair, at least those three were people who got signed during a time where WWE was in acquisition mode and paying big money to people who nowadays wouldn't get that contract.
Right.
You have to
I feel like those days are well behind us now.
Right.
So what you're saying is what's happening on Raw is the process that it's going to get so bad eventually it's going to be really good like 7 years down the road.
Trust it.
I mean, sure.
But I don't know enough about that. That's more of a mad topic, I think.
Yeah, but again, the process nowadays is such a joke that it's one person that's become the process as opposed to the entirety of the thing.
I think one of the guys, and I think it was Rob on the Mindless Musings podcast, kind of compared it like and it's along those same lines, Tim, of what Sean Ross Sapp was talking about. Because I think I saw that, at least that part of that on their YouTube show yesterday. Is if you think of like other sports have a salary cap, that's kind of what the WWE is doing here. Is there, you have somebody that's kind of come in and is really kind of taking over the business operation. And they're looking at, dollars and charts and graphs and all sorts of bottom lines that are well beyond my pay grade. And they're going, okay, we got to get here. Is this, is so-and-so expendable? Is this division expendable? Is, what can we get rid of to get to this point? And it happens.
Yeah, let's get Santana Garrett off the books. That'll save the money.
But also, Santana Garrett was probably on a bigger deal than she was worth to WWE.
Santana Garrett was a big name on the indies, so they probably did give her a bigger contract than what we're assuming.
And I think if memory serves, she's
keep away.
She's been signed since like AEW's come onto the scene, I believe. So her signing was probably, let's keep her away from AEW. Because that those signings happen.
Yeah.
There's no pretending that they didn't. Those signings happen.
The difference though, Jim, between another like a sports franchise trying to get under the salary cap and what WWE is doing is that if a team doesn't get under the salary cap, they have to pay a luxury tax.
Well, right.
And that's imposed by the league. WWE doesn't have a luxury tax.
No. But they have people running the corporate side of the business that are trying to hit a certain number.
Right. Now that's for certain. But I think if you have to think that selling is a play and is probably Vince's last play. But I think the only people who are seriously worried about WWE being sold are the fans.
Yeah,
because we just want to know what's like. We want to know what everyone else would want to know. way before it happens.
And
Like
fans
we're
are
talking
looking,
about like, what's gonna
fans
happen?
are looking at it too from an emotional standpoint of, I love Aleister Black, they just released him, and I love Ruby Riott on the Indies, and they just released her, and Santana Garrett is really good in the Indies, and I just released her, and they just released a bunch of people. So there has to be a reason here. So I think it's just because most people don't work in corporate America to the level of understanding maybe what the WWE is trying to do. Like there's not a lot of people that are on the level of truly understanding, because I sure as shit don't, the ins and outs of what makes, a company of that size specifically, tick and keep going and year after year. I mean, we're seeing it unfortunately in mid-level companies and small companies and family businesses and local restaurants and things. It's happening across the board because of the pandemic. And I'm not blaming the pandemic on this with WWE. This is what happens in corporate America when things are fantastic. But every company has to make a choice. At some point, there's a number we want to hit. We got to hit that mark. And that's kind of what's happening with WWE. I don't personally think the WWE is going to sell at least anytime soon. Even if Vince retires or worse, I do. I think there's probably a degree of there's a plan for what's going to happen if and when that day comes, and I think it's Triple H, and I think it's Stephanie, and I think it's possibly Shane or other people that are already running NXT or in those high level positions.
If not, though, I mean, the company's big enough to acquire a WWE, have the resources, I think, to put something in place. Like Comcast is going to know what to do with WWE if they purchase. Disney, although unlikely, would probably know what to do with that. I mean, these companies all have like tiers.
Sure.
So I think they'd be fully capable of fixing that, but I agree. I think it eventually just stays within the family.
Well, and also, so here's another thought too, is that like, even if they sell, that doesn't necessarily mean that like the day-to-day operations change.
Right. That was going to be my thought too.
It literally would be WWE's way to scapegoat themselves out of any wrongdoing. Because now any decision that's made, a hiring, a firing, a booking decision, things along those lines, right now the buck stops at Vince. If Vince sells, it's NBC Universal's problem. Peacock sucks. Peacock sucks. It's not WWE's fault. It's NBC Universal's fault. Raw sucks. It's not Vince's fault. It's it's NBC Universal's fault.
Sure.
Or Comcast's fault.
Well, and I mean that's why we've seen various head writers of Raw get fired, because I mean, yes, Vince makes the final call, but he can pass the blame onto the writer, and it's a little bit different than that scenario. But
let's not just breeze over the fact that this is the cool thing to do, to shit on the WWE when they cut somebody. AEW just recently released Awesome Kong and Shauna from their contracts, and no one said a fucking word.
Yeah, I had that in my news, and that's going to be something to watch over the next 6-8 months, because this is coming up on that mark of the first AEW signings.
Also, they fill out 2 of their 3 shows with a shitload of indie guys that aren't actually signed,
when they have 100 people that are signed. So like it's
Are you saying you want more Marco stunt matches, Jim? Is that what you're saying?
I definitely didn't say that.
More Marco stunt.
I definitely did not say that.
I'll mark it down.
Mark it down. But yeah, I just, it's, and again, back to the point of the releases and everything. It sucks. People losing jobs suck. And it's not fun. But I think if the releases this week, if they want to continue their career in the wrestling business, I think there's more than enough places for them to do so. So let's go around the room. Where you think each of them will end up. We'll go rapid fire. Braun Strowman. I honestly think he's going to be back in WWE for less money. Ryan.
I was going to say the same thing.
Intern Mark.
I think he would be a good commentator on AEW.
He's
Right
not a
there
hall.
going.
Is he a future Hall of Famer or a current Hall of
Future
Famer?
Hall of Famer. Now, I don't see Braun going anywhere else other than back in WWE eventually. I don't see him in AEW, independence, anything like that. I think he'll take some time off and be back in WWE.
Tim.
Hollywood.
Oh. Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say he does like the autograph circuit, the convention circuit, and then
WWE.
Yep.
But I think he's bound for bigger than just TV.
I think so. Devin says NWA. Aleister Black. I think AEW. I really do. I think he's had AEW. Matt.
Yep.
Tim.
Absolutely.
AEW.
Mark.
Yep, he'll be a great fit in AEW.
Ryan.
Want him to lead the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny to heights not seen.
Ooh, I like that. Lana. AEW. She's gonna be right there with Miro. Ryan.
Yep, ballet.
Mark.
Yep, AEW without question.
Tim.
CJ and Miro versus Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford.
There you go, Matt.
Yep. I mean, that's the only thing I can see happening there.
Isn't Booker T a big fan of Penelope Ford?
Penelope Ford. Yep, I love her. She's great. Aleister Black, though, he needs to stand out from the crowd.
Devin has AEW. I think that's for Aleister. Murphy. I think Murphy would be great in like ROH or Impact. Personally, Matt.
Yeah, Impact or nowhere. I don't know. I don't know that he necessarily catches on, honestly. I mean, I don't know that he's a big enough draw. Like, I mean, I don't even think he's like a Zack Ryder.
AEW Dark.
Right.
Tim.
Sharknado 6.
Tim.
New Japan.
Oh, okay. Intern Mark.
I was thinking Impact.
Okay. And Ryan.
Absolutely New Japan. I think we're judging Buddy Murph from his little slice of WWE, but if you did that with Neville and how he fizzled out in 205 Live and what he really became as the Pac character, I think we can see that with Buddy Murph. New Japan, I also believe, is the correct answer.
Wait, never mind. Ruby Riott.
You're a bastard.
No, Pac's the bastard.
Right.
Ruby Riott. I think she could be great pretty much anywhere. But I think she's going to end up in AEW. Ryan.
I think we will see Heidi Lovelace in AEW.
Mark.
So there's some kind of carrying on here. But anyway, now I think eventually AEW, but I could see an Impact or NWA first.
Okay. Tim.
AEW.
Matt.
AEW.
And then finally,
and there's enough name recognition with Heidi, I believe, that she'd do absolutely fine carrying that name into AEW.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And Santana Garrett, I think honestly, NWA or the Indies. I think she was she was big on the Indies. And I think that's probably her best fit. Matt.
Yeah, either going back to being the indie starlet. I could see Impact as a possibility as well.
Tim.
Impact.
Mark.
Yep, Impact or NWA. Yep.
All right, and Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah, Indies I could see. Is WoW still a thing? Women of Wrestling? She maybe bop over there for
I don't know if it is or not, actually.
A show or two. They brought it back for a little bit. I don't know if it's still
may not have
she
been.
Was on there. Maybe Shimmer. Who the hell knows? Indies.
There you go. All right, let's pause here. Let's take a break. Let's hear from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk Double or Nothing. We will talk our Wrestler of the Week and much more. Stick with us. 3 Count Thursday live.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
3 Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Leeb Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at leebsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Welcome back, Freak On Thursday, June the 3rd, 2021. We are still the podcast of the millennium. If you're watching along live with us, make sure you give it a like and a share. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, make sure you share the page. If you subscribe on podcast platforms, especially Apple Podcasts, give us a rate and review over there, 5 stars anywhere, not just Japan, Dave Meltzer. We'd appreciate that. Get as many people help us spread the word on the podcast as well. Let's quickly, I mean, I don't want to necessarily rush through it, but the discussion about the release and stuff went a little longer than I thought, which is fine. Looking back to Double or Nothing this past Sunday before we get to a wrestler of the week, I'll run down the results if there's any match in particular anybody wants to talk about. Opening match on the pre-show, Serena Deeb retained the NWA Women's title. Opening of the show, Adam Page defeating Brian Cage in a singles match. The Young Bucks retained the tag team titles against Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Saw Jungle Boy, of course, last eliminating Christian Cage to win the Casino Battle Royale. Personally, I thought it was Christian the whole way. I love the fact that they went with Jungle Boy in this spot. Pleasantly surprised me, if I'm being 100% honest.
The previous 2 Casino Royale winners really went on to big things, so things are looking good for Jungle Boy.
Who was it besides Brian? Brian Cage was one.
No, he won the Casino ladder match.
He won the giant poker chip.
It was Adam Page in 2019 and Lance Archer last year.
Okay.
So good luck, Jungle Boy.
Yeah, you get your title shot in 2 weeks and you're likely to lose.
Jungle Boy is a star on the AEW roster that will benefit from live fans being
100%. That the pop was huge.
And that finish was incredible.
It was.
So good.
It was real good. Things that weren't real good. Cody Rhodes defeating Anthony Ogogo. Miro.
You say that. Rhodes has a star on the rise too.
Sure he does.
I mean, he's to the moon.
Miro, wrong week, midweek show, Ryan. Miro defeating Lance Archer to retain the TNT title. Personally, I think this match should have been shorter even than the 9:50 that it was.
Should have been 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Miro just ragdoll in the entire time.
Absolutely should have. and it felt honestly, it felt longer than 9:50.
He threw a bag of snakes.
Right, Peter, go get him. Peter gonna get him. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defeating Hikaru Shida to become the new AEW women's champion. I'm glad Britt won, but I think, Ryan, as we were talking,
I was dead wrong. I went back and watched it. That match was fantastic.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really good.
Was it?
I really enjoyed it. I went back and watched it. I thought it was great.
How long was that match?
17 minutes.
Yeah, like cut some time.
Yeah, God forbid we give the women equal amount of time in like a big title match.
To be fair, there's multiple men's matches.
You definitely are a WWE fan.
I could go through this entire pay-per-view and say blanket statement right off the cuff. Every match take 4 minutes off. Yes. Every one of them take 4 minutes.
Every match was
every one of them.
Every single one of them.
There's no 4 pay-per-views that goes 4 hours.
It has nothing to do with the length of the pay-per-view.
Absolutely got the money. It does. If you cut 4 minutes off of every fucking match, that pay-per-view is shorter. It has everything to do with 4 hours.
It does. But per mathematics, taking 4 minutes off of 9 matches gives you 36 extra minutes.
For what?
Not my problem. It's if 2 wrestlers are given 17 minutes of time to wrestle, but they've only got 13 minutes of material, it makes that match so much harder to watch because you're filling stuff in. That match was a hit. Shida and Britt Baker was a hit everything, kick out of everything fest.
Honestly, to me, and I haven't gone back and watched the show.
Are you new to AEW?
But every match is like that, and that's another thing too. Like
I thought
they do everything. I'm sounding like Jim Ross.
I thought that the NWA women's title match was better than Britt versus Cheetah.
It was not.
I mean, I may have to go back and watch both of them.
Please play the "Wrong Sir" clip for yourself.
What if I don't feel that I am? You know what? I'll oblige you.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
I really enjoyed Deeb and Riho too. I thought that match was great. I thoroughly enjoyed a long women's match where they actually were given the time, and yep, they kicked out of everything and they threw everything. And I think you have a brand new championship, and you need to establish that this is important. And these girls are going to go and do what it takes to win this match. And that's what we saw. And it was 17 minutes. It's not like it was the longest match.
Well, no, it certainly was not the longest.
I feel like NXT had like a 30-minute women's match one time, and everybody fucking loved that.
Because it was an Iron Woman match.
Well, you know what? Ticky-tacky, Jim. Ticky-tacky.
No, I mean, like...
How long was it?
It was 30 minutes.
My point is proven.
No.
Right, but you also knew that going in.
We all just said, we all agreed.
That was established.
That would be better as a 26-minute match.
No.
The concept of the match was a 30-minute match.
Correct.
Yes.
Right. So 17 is too long.
You're missing what I'm saying.
I'm
not allowed to speak on behalf of the Iron Woman match
because
Sasha Banks wrestled in it. I can't.
That's also
You're more
true.
than welcome to speak up about it because Bailey wrestled in it.
There you go.
But the moment Bailey was in control, we could have cut them out.
The issue. 17 minutes isn't the issue. The time itself is not the issue. It's the fact that this match, as well as matches 1 through 10, went too long.
I just appreciate that Jim is saying this 17 match is too long when you had The Undertaker having a 22-minute entrance. And didn't seem like upset about that when you predicted 22 minutes.
So did we not just say that Miro and Lance Archer was the longest 9-minute match we had ever seen?
I mean, not ever. I've seen some indie stinkers.
Okay. For a mainstay big 3 company pay-per-view match, would you not say that Miro and Lance Archer had a long 9-minute match?
I mean, that's a lot of recency bias, but yes, it was super long.
Okay. So if they had 9 minutes, but they only had 4 minutes or 5 minutes of material,
That's a little different though, because I felt it was too long because it shouldn't have been that long. Not because they couldn't like go. It should have just been a squash match for Miro. That's why I felt
think
that it was too
everybody
long.
wants the Rusev Miro back, and that's just not who we have in AEW.
And
I think
also
that's
you
why
have
people
to
want that match shorter.
There's also some protecting that needs to be done for Lance Archer too.
You just
because,
can't kill the guy.
And if you put him in there against Rusev, Miro, and you kill him in 3 minutes, you've essentially done just that.
Okay, but it's not like
We'll
people
leave him
can't
and
bounce
Archer-
back from that. Daniel Bryan lost in 18 seconds at a WrestleMania.
Yes, and that made him.
Fine.
It made him.
It took a lot to build him back to that.
That was because WWE didn't want to build him back. That's not like him. Like,
wasn't that really just supposed to put over the bro kick?
Yeah, I think
Like
so.
it's a kick that's a finisher.
And it was
wow.
distraction by AJ Lee.
Yeah, the split
Yeah, it's
from
supposed to
AJ.
be like the kiss of death thing.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
I will give you that match should have been shorter. I feel like a go-go should have won in a much shorter amount of time and just caught Cody with a punch. Again,
Go-Go
that's
definitely should have won.
that's me like playing armchair quarterback Booker that I'm not.
Right.
I love a Go-Go's trunks, by the way. I think that was the one of the biggest.
His trunks were fantastic. We were trying to figure out how he was using the Olympic rings, but the bottom two rings were the G. Fantastic. Absolutely love
and
it.
the top is the O's in his name. Brilliant. Love it. Probably the best gear that I've seen in a long time.
Was
Mike-
Leo Rush on anyone's radar for
No.
the surprise entrance? Okay.
No,
No, I
but that
thought
was
it
a
was-
letdown because it wasn't CM Punk. I think like that's what everybody's gonna say.
I mean, here's the thing. It caught me by
Who
surprise.
did everybody guess?
I had the
think
Big
my-
Show.
My guess was
Yeah,
Paul White. I thought he was
okay.
going to pull the Jerry the King Lawler and step
I
up.
think
from
we
the-
all said that, and then was it Devin that said Andrade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought there was a possibility it could have been Andrade, but I didn't think it was going to be.
Mhm.
I thought even because when I predicted it, I didn't remember that Paul White was on commentary. I thought he was going to pull the Jerry the King Lawler thing where he gets up and puts the headset down and then just goes in and and I get he's going to take more people to eliminate him, but I thought that was going to be the thing that was going to happen. So it was definitely a cool surprise.
You would have preferred Paul White over Leo Rush?
Not necessarily. I mean, I thought it was a cool surprise. I mean, I don't feel it was a letdown by any stretch of the imagination.
I have my own problems with the Casino Battle Royale. I have two notable problems.
My
but it's just me.
biggest problem with it is there's no good way to bring 5 guys out at one time. Because the first one, if memory serves, they all came out at one time, and it's like, why aren't these guys fighting? It's all, but now you bring them out with separate entrances, and that just seems convoluted as well. I get they're trying to do a Royal Rumble without doing what WWE does, so I give them credit for that. But there's no good way to bring 5 guys out at the same time, especially when you only have one tunnel.
My big problem was it was 3 minutes between entrances. I get that it's 5 people at a time, but 3 minutes is a long time to watch 5 dudes just kill time until another 5 dudes
Especially
come
when
out.
you see the clock. The beauty of Titan time is it can be 38 seconds. It could be 2.5 minutes. It's whatever the match dictates.
Right.
But when you see the clock counting, all you're doing is watching the clock, waiting for 3 minutes to come down.
By the way, if you cut a minute off of every timer, that's the 4 minutes you would save from the Casino Battle Royale.
Mike here, going back to the TNT title match, he says a squash match for Miro. If you want to do that, hand him like Trent or Chuck or somebody like that. If you squash Archer, that leaves him 0-2 in TNT title matches. Yeah, I also don't necessarily think we needed to get a rushed Miro Lance Archer match that was booked in 2 weeks. I think that could have been a great long match, Summer of Miro, and Lance Archer's the big guy coming to take the title. But they went a million miles an hour straight into that feud as well.
But and also you have to think too, it's their first pay-per-view in front of a full live crowd.
Fair.
So you want to give them the biggest matches you can. And two big names together. Like, they're two former WWE guys with name recognition for a title. Put them together.
That's fair. Darby and Sting defeating Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, 12:30. Kenny Omega defeating Orange Cassidy and Pac. Three-way match to retain the AEW World Championship. And then, of course, finally, the Inner Circle defeating the Pinnacle in the Stadium Stampede match, 31 minutes and 30 seconds.
We're going to be doing this podcast 3 or 4 years from now when Orange Cassidy is released from AEW and say, God damn, how red hot Orange Cassidy was, and AEW didn't have the balls to put the championship on him in this match right here, because that crowd was all the fuck over Orange Cassidy.
Man, they were ready.
What I was really looking forward to with Double or Nothing was AEW to actually do something that they said they were going to do at the beginning of the company.
Which was?
That they would make plans, but if the fans point them in a certain direction, that they would listen to the people and they would give them what they want and they would make accommodations thereof.
Wrong.
What harm is it?
Wrong.
What harm is it at Double or Nothing to have Orange Cassidy win the title, even if it's to lose it back to Kenny Omega in 2 or 3 weeks on television?
Right.
There's zero harm in that.
Especially because you could have done it. Pac eats the fall. You don't even have to have Kenny in that spot.
The only harm in it is that's not what wraps up this pay-per-view. That emotional blow off of Orange winning, and then you have to go watch the Inner Circle match.
Literally,
which will end up back in front of you.
Right,
Yes.
the fans in the crowd literally have to watch it on a TV screen.
Yeah, that was
that's
a
why
gutsy call to have your main event be taped and air the end of it live in Daly's place. Brilliant. But the biggest kudos needs to be to every single fan who sat happily watching the Stadium Stampede on that one screen
and assuming
Right.
that it was, and it did it did, but assuming that that match is going to finish in the ring, because there was a ring in the stadium. It could have ended there. It could have ended in the boiler room or the cooler or whatever. Mike says they also said records matter, but only till they need another Casino Battle Royale to figure out the
and that's another problem I have with the Casino Battle Royale. What's the point of having rankings
if you've been watching? And again, this records don't matter. They don't.
Then don't say it.
My biggest complaint, because really looking back on it, I enjoyed the show. I did. My biggest thing is every match that wasn't the Casino Battle Royale and the Stadium Stampede had some form of interference, distraction, outside the ring shenanigans, whatever. And like, you look at the main event, and with what Callis did, setting up, getting Kenny the win, it made perfect sense. But I literally just watched it 7 different times in every match leading up to it. It means less and less every single time. If everybody bleeds, then it's not special when the guy in the main event gets color. So the moment of Callis creating the diversion and whatever with the titles and all of this, it means so much less because it happened in Page versus Cage. It happened in the Young Bucks. It happened in the Cody Rhodes match with, even just as simple with the Arn Anderson and QT Marshall stuff. Like, you just stop overdoing it.
The one of those 3 that I would save is the Young Bucks, because that's still Don Callis. That's still that group. So if you're gonna do the extra schmoz finish, that's the one.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can't happen in other matches, because
Right,
it's
but every
trash-
other one, and I'll give you that. Every other one, Jake came out, Rebel interfered every single match.
Yeah, especially in a post Attitude Era world where the lid not only has the toothpaste come out of the tube, it's been like kicked and blown out of the tube. So like, I'm not saying it can't happen in every. Save this for one match and one match only. It's not that. It's when it happens in every single match, and it's one of my gripes with Dynamite. Is every episode of Dynamite ends with chaos, pure chaos. Every time there's a every title match that Darby Allin defended the TNT title, he didn't even get up and start to celebrate before there was 6 guys attacking him. Every single time, it's just it's too much. It's repetitive, and and WWE is guilty of repetition. And I mean, obviously, we've seen the same match on Raw since last year's SummerSlam, so it's not just an AEW problem.
That ends in DQ.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I didn't really notice it until you pointed it out. So I wouldn't say it bothered me as much as it bothers you, but I do appreciate that, like, to do it every single match is certainly overkill. Like when it happened in the first 2 matches and you tweeted something about it, I was like, all right, Jim, it's AEW, I get it.
Yeah,
but then
right,
when it like
you gotta take
kept
some of the grain
happening,
of salt when I'm manning the Twitter,
when it kept happening, then I was like, okay, he has a point. This is a little much.
Right, and because this was the and I also like this show because it was the first one that Ryan and I have watched together, and my wife thankful for this, that we can watch pay-per-views together again. Thank you, vaccines. Thank you, science. Because my wife doesn't have to watch almost full pay-per-views anymore. But like,
I'm just shocked you haven't booked her as a guest on this show. She is that WWE slanted too.
Because I wasn't kidding when Dynamite came on a couple weeks ago, and she goes, "Oh, this is the bad one, right?" I mean, I've taught her well. I really have. I've put in a lot of work over the last 11
You
years.
specifically called her back to the television to show her how tiny Marco Stunt was, so she would make, "Oh, that's a real wrestler. That's not a boy." Just to pick on Marco Stunt.
Jim really does lead the witness with these. It feels like
real bad.
Unapologetically.
This is the one I'm not supposed to like, right? Yes.
And the Stadium Stampede, like I just thought some of the segments, individual match segments, some of them went long, way long. But I mean,
There were
I
some
enjoyed
fun spots in that. The Urban Meyer thing was cool.
Oh, absolutely loved it. For somebody that is a sports fan, a college football fan, that was really cool. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun match, and
I feel like there was a lot of Sean Spears and Sammy Hagar spots that probably could have found that the 4 minutes could have gotten cut out of.
Who? Sammy who?
Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar.
Mixing,
you're thinking
you're
Jake
mixing
Hagar.
2 people from the same
You're
stable.
thinking that was David Lee Roth.
I have no idea who that is.
But yeah, it was, and
Jake Jericho and Chris Hagar.
Sammy and Spears were the 2 that finished the match. So in hindsight, I guess you can see why they were some of the most featured players in the presentation. But I saw 12 minutes at least more of Sean Spears than I need to.
I feel like that finish was a little underwhelming too. Crazy. Oh, in the ring, that's just odd.
The story they told, though, makes perfect sense. Sammy was the reason they lost Blood and Guts.
Correct.
So he is the reason why the Inner Circle stays together at Stadium Stampede. Now, whatever the blow-off's going to be, whether it's
a singles match,
kill the stack, like you have to murder somebody.
Fyter Fest is just going to be singles matches between each member.
It's going to be Mortal Kombat.
I'm okay with that.
They're just going to...
They're working in reverse.
Blood sport.
Like, I get, how are your first 2 matches Stadium Stampede and Blood and Guts? It still blows me away.
I did see you arguing, Jim, on Twitter with the fan who said that Judas is the
that's a
most
first.
over theme. But I think to an extent they have a point. Like, have we seen a crowd be that hot for a theme in a while? It's probably not ever, but I mean, I think again, recency bias for that.
Right, because I think
person.
I would definitely agree. It's one of the most over in recent memory.
It's fan participation. It's the same thing as like the Yes Chance. It's fun. You see it on TV, and you can't wait to do it live in person.
Right, but it's also like actually learning lyrics as opposed to just chanting yes and putting your fingers in the air.
This is the most over theme in wrestling history.
That's horseshit.
The most over theme.
Horseshit.
Who's better? Who?
You can say it as many times as you want.
Name two others.
Over because they sing it?
The song is over. The theme is over. People weren't popping for Hulk Hogan because of Real American. They were popping because it was Hogan. Same thing with Steve Austin. They weren't popping because I love his fucking theme. No,
will never be hotter.
We sat at a show in Hershey, Pennsylvania, when Curtis Axel was coming out to Real American, and you heard Real American, and the place went crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that was also Hershey, Pennsylvania.
You popped for it because you weren't expecting to hear it, and you heard it.
Judas
and it
is
went
a great
to
song. I own the Fozzy. I'll not deny that it's a great song.
It is the most over theme in wrestling history.
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard you say.
I mean,
ever.
If you're looking at my actual phrase, it's not that ludicrous.
It is.
Then name another theme that is more over.
You said the two already.
But those weren't... People aren't looking forward to the song. People, those two songs...
So you're saying Chris Jericho is grossly overrated because of the song he comes out to?
I'm saying that
Jericho,
the
actual
fans...
performance is a disappointment once you're done singing Fozzy.
I'm saying that the song is over. People look forward to Jericho coming out so they can sing Judas. They're not looking forward to the song to see Jericho, just like...
Fandango's theme.
Fandango's theme was super over. And it wasn't because of Fandango. It was the effing theme.
I will argue Fandango's theme over Judas.
No way!
At the same time, like, there's a
People
lot.
have been singing Judas for multiple years. Fandango doesn't even have the same fucking theme anymore.
And again, that's learning the lyrics for the song as opposed to just putting your
We
fingers
also
in the air.
sang the Badas.
Yeah, people sang that. I had the shirt that
Glorious was
that had the
incredibly over.
It was,
What about,
but again,
it was like
my baby tonight?
Jesus.
the theme closest to being over is Shinsuke Nakamura's theme. But even then, I think that people were excited to hear the theme because it was Shinsuke, and Shinsuke performed into his theme, so it became that kind of crowd reaction. I'm saying Judas by itself.
It's the most sing-alongable theme song.
Most
yes.
over
You can say
theme.
That.
Yes.
The most sing-alongable theme.
Over.
Okay. All right. I think we'll agree. I think we can agree.
No, don't fucking just say that to pacify him, Jim, because you don't agree.
No, I as a theme itself,
as the way Tim's wording it, it makes sense more.
The way he's wording it, I think it does make sense.
It
It's
is
like
the theme, not the person, anything else.
I think that
So the most over sound effect was the glass breaking?
I'll say I think the glass breaking is more over than
If you
Judas.
were to ever like register the fucking sound of those pops, it blows Judas every day. It blows Judas out of the water every day.
But it's what they're popping for. The glass breaking means that the biggest star in the history of wrestling is
Judas
coming
means
out.
Chris Jericho's gonna waddle his ass out and wrestle.
Judas means
you
that
want
we
us
get to sing the effing chorus at the top of our
Go
lungs.
to a Fozzy concert then.
They do every Wednesday or Friday or Saturday at Daly's place.
At Sturgis.
They're there.
But I think that I think that's the point, Ryan. I think like people are they're not getting over because they get to see Jericho kind of
Right.
wrestle in
You just
2024.
made that point
Thank
for
you.
us. Like Jericho's waddling his ass out to a ring.
Yes,
Isn't
they're
something
not
that
excited
people
about
are
him.
pumped about.
Excited. No.
They're excited
Right.
about Judas.
So you think the Yes movement? We weren't. You guys are unreal. Get the fucking music off of here, Tim.
I mean, it's not a bad call by Mark. That's up there.
That's actually, if you've ever sat at Jimmy's Famous Seafood and heard the late great Nikolai Volkov almost sing that song,
Oh my!
you get it. You get it.
That was some good stuff.
But I think you're right, and I think my tweet
You is who?
may have been a bit misled and wrong.
Who is you? You
What's
said,
that?
I think you are right.
Tim.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, Tim. I did point at you, but I realize I'm pointing at a screen. So yes. Let's go around. Grade for AEW Double or Nothing. I left my score sheet upstairs, but I think
Did anything get a flat 0?
nothing got a flat 0 actually, so it did better than
No zombies. Got it.
WrestleMania Backlash. No zombies. I think when I mathed everything out, I think it was a B minus. I think it was a B minus for me, which I agree with. It was not a bad show. It was awesome seeing it in front of a crowd again. Matt.
I had it as a straight B.
Very good. Tim.
It was an A minus because of the crowd.
Okay.
Because the fans were so into it.
Mark, how about you?
I thought it was a great show. I give it a B plus, and part of that is, like Tim said, from the crowd. Having that live crowd back was a big deal.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm very much looking forward to what is it, July the 16th, when we see the WWE back on the road. Ryan.
I gave it a solid B, but because I got to see the fans sing Fozzy, that really upgraded the whole fucking thing to an A plus. So probably the greatest pay-per-view I've ever seen.
Perfect.
Seeing a Jericho rappel down with Fozzy playing, oh my god, it moved my heart, it moved my dick.
I thought they were all gonna die jumping off that thing. I didn't know they were tethered. I'm like, they're just gonna jump off.
Yeah, it's like, why they're up there? Okay, they're gonna
camera
good.
cut. They're on the ground.
All right, I thought that was gonna be something too. But apparently that was shot over like 4 days, from what Jericho said. The Stadium Stampede, not them rappelling.
Yeah.
The match itself. Devin said he gave it a C. And that is Double or Nothing. But we have our
There's
normal.
There's a reason Devin listens to this WWE podcast every fucking week.
We have our other weekly business to attend to, though.
Since John Moxley and Cesaro, way before Gargano, there was Savage and Roddy, and Saturdays on NBC. These five guys on Facebook are gonna take a hard look. Recount Thursday brings to you the wrestler on the week.
All right, week 8 of 52. Anybody want to kick us off with their nominations? Ryan, go
I
ahead.
would love to go first.
Go ahead.
Not because people love this segment and what they have to offer them, but because they love the entrance music to the segment, and that's really what is it gets this segment over. That's probably what I like
You
most
guys
about
say
it.
I'm the salty one. Ryan's the saltiest member of this group.
I am absolutely not.
Easily.
Dude, the last couple weeks you've been a bit on the bitchy side. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? It was Britt Baker, Jungle Boy, and Serena Deeb.
Ryan, you need another cigarette.
I'm out.
He's all like,
Son of a bitch.
No wonder he's so moody.
That's
It
what
all
it is.
makes sense
He's
now.
out of smokes.
Unbelievable.
Downhill.
Yeah, Britt Baker, number 1, defeated Hikaru Shida, ending her 372-day reign as AEW Women's Champion in a match that lasted 17 minutes, which is about 5 minutes too long, but still made her good enough to be number 1. Jungle Boy, the winner of the Casino Battle Royal, which was a total clusterfuck, but I really enjoyed the match. He was number 2. And number 3 was Serena Deeb in what was Matt's least favorite match on the card, apparently. I thought it was great. And so about Riho was in that. A solid little wrestling match. It was real cool.
Wow. Anybody else want to go next?
I'll go.
Tim, go ahead.
Get him, Tim.
So for me, I've got Kenny Omega as number 1. In probably my favorite Kenny Omega match ever. He actually seemed very palatable in this moment with Pac and with Orange Cassidy. Next is Britt Baker, ending Hikaru Shida's 370 plus day title reign. Kudos to her. And third is Jungle Boy for getting the opportunity to face Kenny Omega in not this week, but next week on Dynamite for the AEW World Title in an impressive showing in the Casino Battle Royale with cheese.
All right. Matt or
Yeah,
Mark,
with cheese.
do you guys want to go? You want me to go?
Mark can go.
Mark, why don't you go?
You want me to go? All right, let me think here. I had Isaac Yankum's favorite intern, Britt Baker, the good dentist. She was one of Santa's elves, and she just wanted to be a dentist. It was a little unusual, but I put her at number 1. Remember that from Rudolph?
Sure.
When Hermie was.
Yes, we remember.
Oh,
Right,
the
so
Land of
she,
Misfit. I know all about that.
Oh, the Island of Misfit Toys. There was the Charlie in the box. You had the water gun that instead of water, it squirted grape jelly. And of course, the train with the square wheels.
Who's number 2?
Number
The
2.
Spotted Elephant was number
Mark.
2.
Hey, Mark.
I had the Jungle Boy. I love that theme he comes out to. Tarzan Boy by Baltimore. Was it Baltimore?
Mhm.
That's a great 80s tune.
It is a good tune.
But I didn't expect to see the Jungle Boy win the match, so I had to give it to the Jungle Boy.
Good.
And then number 3, I went. This is all AEW this week. I went with Kenny Omega. I thought that was a very good triple threat match. I liked it a lot.
Don't let it happen again, Mark. Matt,
I know. I'm sorry.
who are your 3?
Yes, so number 1, I have Kenny Omega. I think he won the biggest title and the biggest event of the week, so that puts him at number 1 for myself. Number 2, Britt Baker, the second biggest title at the biggest event of the week. And then I had Kushida for retaining the Cruiserweight title at NXT. I thought that match was absolutely fantastic. And Jungle Boy was an honorable mention for me. Just, I know Jim has that rule about all EW things, and I think I was already on like a warning, so I
double secret probation.
kept one NXT person for this week.
Smart. I like you. You're starting to learn. I wish some of the others in this group would do the same. I'm going to start with number 3, a guy who at 62 years young was a shining star in their tag team match, and that is the man they call Sting. I believe we've all heard of Sting. My number 2, MSK. I thought the main event of NXT on Tuesday night this week was really, really good, and they retained their NXT tag titles. And my number 1, Britt Baker, ending the 1-year plus streak of Hikaru Shida in AEW as their women's champion. So that was my number 1. Tim, where does that leave us overall for the week and for the year?
So for the week, we have at the top of our standings, Britt Baker, DMD, with 21 points. Second for the week with 11 is Kenny Omega. Third with 7 points is the Jungle Boy. And taking 4th place honors and getting them in the running for Wrestler of the Year is MSK, Wesley, and Nash Carter. So how that shakes up for the year. Well, the big dog, Mr. the Ooh-Ah man himself, Roman Reigns, still sits at the head of the table through 8 weeks. But now we have a definitive number 2 in Kenny Omega with 17 points, hot on the heels Just one more first place nomination for Kenny during the week can tie him up with WWE's Big Dog. And tied
Jim
for
will make sure that never happens.
tied for third. Well, it depends. Kenny Omega can win against Jungle Boy in 2 weeks, defending the title. So that could
Jim will
take a part.
skip having a podcast that week.
Sorry, guys, the internet's
out. The poll will still happen. The votes will still occur, and I'll make the graphics and we'll put them on social media. We are not missing weeks on this thing. But third with 10 points, Kenny Omega gets cycled out of that. In the place of that is Britt Baker, DMD, alongside Karrion Kross, Miro, Bianca Belair, and Cool Cow. And that is your standings for the Wrestler of the Week and Year. Be sure to know that you can check any of the live standings and the standings from previous weeks on 3 Count Thursday's website. The link is at the top. There's a link inside. When you open that, it gives a breakdown of how the weeks are scored. And then there's a link at the bottom that takes you to the spreadsheet that I meticulously curate. And so enjoy yourselves.
There you go. That is week 8.
Since John Moxley and Cesaro, way before Gargano, there was Savage and Roddy, and Saturdays on NBC. These 5 guys on Facebook are gonna take a hard look. 3 Count Thursday brings to you the wrestler on the week.
The 3 count question of the week. As we start to wind down the show, and this kind of built off of Ryan's Wrestler of the Week standings from last week, and also I blatantly and unapologetically stole this topic from the Take 3 Wrestling podcast. If you aren't subscribed to them, make sure you do so. Friends of the show, the Take 3 Wrestling podcast, and it's. If you could make a show, if you were in charge and you were going to make a TV show like Young Rock based on another wrestler's life, which wrestler would you pick as your TV show? So is there anybody that wants to kick us off with this question?
Ooh. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Because I'm trying to think like who would have an exciting younger story to tell. That's not.
Am I the only
Rock.
one that did homework this week?
I did homework.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm impressed with you, Ryan.
No, you do other homework. I mean, the question of the week. This is the only thing I actually got a message to me about.
That's not true. Why do you always lie to the people, Ryan?
So who do you? Okay, so you.
So who's yours, Mister? I did my homework.
Mr.
I don't want to go first.
Okay,
Too
fine.
bad.
I'll keep blathering on so you can rub it in that you did homework and I didn't.
Tim, you've changed.
I know. I got a haircut.
What's gotten
Thanks.
into Tim?
It's
What's
all
gotten into
these.
him?
You know what it is? It's all these Zoa energies.
How'd that go? Did The Rock?
Nope, not
or
yet.
whatever? No?
Not
Okay.
yet. Nope. We're gonna keep drinking them until he retweets me. Here we go.
You're gonna have a heart attack.
Can't wait. All right. So, yeah, I'm not sure like who younger, like in collegiate high school age would be interesting.
Ryan, I feel like you really want to talk.
No,
right
how real is Young Rock? Like, it's not a fucking biography or an autobiography of him. Like, it's clearly.
I mean, it's played up for TV. I mean,
I've also never seen a single episode of Young Rock, so I have no idea. Like,
It's actually not a bad show. I think
I
you would
actually
enjoy it.
recommend it. But
It's
but
on
also,
the cock.
Since we are talking about TV shows, though,
right on the cock.
I am loving The Good Place. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, Matt. I believe you both steered me in that direction. I am absolutely loving that show. But Ryan, I feel like you want to talk. Do you want to?
No.
You want to give your answer, Mark?
Because last time I fucking said something, it was fucking
Look, he's
3-on-1,
upset.
and Mark sat in the corner and didn't say a goddamn word.
You're
Mark.
upset. I'm sorry if that upsets you.
Mark, do you want to give your answer? You said you did homework
Yeah,
this week.
I did some homework. So I thought about it. Who would have had an interesting childhood? And I went with Randy Orton being the third generation wrestler. The stories he heard from his grandfather and his dad and the wrestlers that would come by the house when he was younger. Plus the fact he was in the military and I think, was he a Marine that was dishonorably discharged?
I think so, yeah.
He pooped in the guy's bag.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they're gonna if they cover that in an episode. Who told him to shit in a bag?
So yeah, I think Orton would have a pretty good story to tell, especially from his childhood days.
I have an answer now.
Oh yes, Tim.
And it's not very creative, but what on television is.
Sure.
How about you turn Fighting with My Family into a TV series?
Okay.
And retell Paige's story, much like with Mark talking about the stories. Paige's family was wrestlers. She got into wrestling at a very, very young age. And hearing all those stories played up through television would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Good one. Matt or Ryan, would you guys care to go?
I also went with a third generation superstar. I think it could get really cool once we get him into the ring and some of the things that he's battled. I went with the character known as Bray Wyatt, with Father IRS and Grandfather Blackjack Mulligan and the Wyndham Uncles. I think there's plenty of wrestling characters that we would see Bray Wyatt as a child, and then watch him like go through the Husky Harris phase, what's created a Bray Wyatt, like what snapped in him to want to go that route. I think would make fun television times.
I just thought of another one.
Ryan, I was thinking you were going to go with Dominic Mysterio.
I was gonna go with fucking Mike Cohen's kid.
Thought Ryan was gonna go with Nicholas.
What a story he has to tell.
Tim, do you want to give your other one?
No, because everybody else needs to give theirs first.
Okay, Matt, do you want to go? Do you want me to go?
I will go. I was also thinking Bray, but I think after reading her book, I think a show about AJ Lee and her journey, especially with the topic of the book and the mental health thing, I think could go a long way. Be a very valuable show in that sense. So that was my final answer of AJ Lee.
I'd watch it.
Is there any surprise as to what my answer is going to be?
Oh, it's a story about Bret the Hitman Hart.
I mean, right.
Talk about stretching my dad's stool, stretching people in the gun.
Right.
In the
I mean,
dungeon.
you had a fucking bear living under the front porch or something. I mean,
my lovely mother, Helen.
It was a goddamn circus in that house, and you had wrestlers coming in and out all the time.
And then the series finale is his stroke, right?
My poor brother Owen. We talk about my poor brother Owen and all of my other family, Bruce and Keith and all of them. And
I mean,
Martha.
All of them.
Martha.
All of them.
I don't know the names of all the God blessed hearts. Look, can I get points for naming all the women on Raw and SmackDown?
You do. Truth be told, I don't know all the brothers.
Oh, there's Smith. I forgot about my brother Smith.
Smith was the oldest.
He died of
That's the
prostate
guy
cancer.
that had the last name as a first name, right?
S Hart. There's another B. Isn't there another B Hart?
There was Dean Hart
Bruce,
passed away.
Dean, Owen, Keith,
Martha.
No, Martha was Owen's wife.
Yeah, she married. Yeah, she
The
married another
sisters
family.
were Ellie.
There was Jim.
Go.
Ellie was married to Neidhart.
My brother Wayne.
Yeah.
Diana.
Wayne. Diana.
I forgot about Wayne.
There was Keith Hart.
Yeah, Keith was in the match, the Survivor Series match with.
Yep, he was there. Kevin Hart was in there
Ellie.
too, I think.
Kevin Hart.
Ellie. Everyone loves Ellie in Georgia.
There's
There was,
Jimmy.
Allison. Ross.
Mary.
There's
Mary Hart did Entertainment Tonight.
The guy
Diana.
who was Hart from Captain Planet. I think he was one of the brothers.
Then you got to
The
think
episode
about
where he reveals like how disappointed he is with Natty. Oh, just
come
tears.
Captain Planet.
me meeting my best friend, the Anvil, hooking him up with my lovely sister. I believe he got married to Ellie. Is that right?
Well, here's some breaking news.
Oh, we have breaking
wait.
news.
Uh-oh.
From Impact Wrestling, a limited number of fans will be able to attend Slammiversary on July 17th at Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Tickets on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So for the first time since the start of the pandemic, fans back with Impact.
And the WWE star was Steve Cutler. Whatever.
Didn't Impact usually just gets a small amount of fans anyway?
Yeah.
Mark, that's
pay-per-views.
very mean.
That's so true. That's why I didn't do anything with them. I decided to do something with AEW, and then they put me and they slipped me down that set of stairs holding that 9,000-pound title. Maybe if they'd shipped it up and made it look something real nice with like a winged eagle on it or something.
Tim, what was your other answer?
The Big Show.
Nope, that was
I'll
on
be
Netflix.
darned.
Fuck you.
No, the Big Show show was the Big Show as a dad and like doing
Oh,
the sitcom life.
awful.
But having the Big Show grow up and be a giant, like I was thinking Andre the Giant, but nobody wants to hear a little kid talk about having a cookie and talking like that. But Big Show is like an adolescent being much larger than everyone else, growing up as the goofy giant. That would be cool. Young giant.
Hey, a show about Kamala growing up would be good too.
Well, they didn't have cameras in Uganda.
Yeah, come on,
That's
Mark.
true. The deepest, darkest Uganda from the
Now,
jungles.
has it just been me and Jim that watched Young Rock? Who else had seen it?
I've seen a few episodes. I haven't seen all of them.
Is there a actor that portrays another wrestler that you just particularly like the best? Like the guy that portrays Andre, or the guy that does I don't know, any of them?
I mean, I've only seen 2 episodes, so.
I mean, I think the guy that does Randy Savage, I think, does a good job at portraying Randy Savage and not like a imitation of Randy Savage.
That's fair.
So
The Sheik guy, he seems okay.
Yeah.
I did see a clip of Rocky Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy who plays Rocky Johnson's really
I
good.
think so too.
Yeah.
The scene I saw was when The Rock was getting into the University of Miami, and Rocky Johnson was working at the factory, and he took the call.
I love the guy that played Ed Orgeron as the defensive coordinator at Miami. That cracked me up because, again, I'm a college football mark as well. Devin said he's liked it and he's watched a couple episodes. Charlie commenting about tonight's Dark Side of the Ring, Grizzly Smith and Jake the Snake Roberts and all that.
I forgot about
I saw
that.
The Rock had tweeted earlier today he had gotten in like an advanced release of the episode and talked about how heavy the episode is. So, yeah, Dark Side's been hitting really well. Is there any other?
Prepare for Jake Roberts to be on my top 3 next week.
Is there any others that you think would be good before we move on to the news and wrap this thing up?
The only other 2 that I would enjoy would be the McMahon kids.
I think that would be a great one.
Yep. Especially the son. What's his name?
Shane.
Yeah, my friend Jason actually commented. I think he said Shane.
Yo, money talk.
Here comes the money.
What an over theme song.
Where's that heart attack I'm looking for? Here we go.
How about the
Charlie.
one with Dustin Rhodes would be a good one.
I think the Rhodeses
Growing up
would be good. I think
Ooh, we can do Cody.
We do
Right up to the
Cody's
moment
dad,
he gets the neck tattoo.
Yeah,
after that.
It starts with the neck tattoo, and the first
Oh,
words
it
are-
works backwards.
So I'm curious how you wonder how I got here.
It mementos, so it works in forward and reverse.
You meet in the middle. I
Yeah.
love it.
Charlie says Bruce Pritchard, Dr. Tom Bruce, Houston Wrestling, being with Vince.
That would be something.
Could
Charlie
be.
also said Karrion Cross, I bet.
I mean, I think I remember on the Facebook post and on Twitter, I think some people had said like Ric Flair and or Charlotte Flair.
Could not put any of Ric Flair's stuff unless it was like Showtime.
Or Comedy Central After Dark or something like that.
22 minutes of Rick doing blow and fucking women.
Cinemax.
That was Camp WWE, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's definitely not making it to NBC. We know that for sure. But yeah, definitely some good responses there. Thank you to those who responded to that on the social media post. And anything else before we hit the news, guys?
We've apparently hit the point of our podcast where we just have to steal from other podcasts. So if you guys have a question of the week, tweet us. You can email us. I think we have an email. We still do. You could fax us. However you want to get the information to us. We want to know what
we had to make some cuts during the pandemic, so we do no
you cut
longer
the fax
have
line. Okay.
Fax,
Well, then you can
machine,
tweet
there
us
you
or
go.
email us what question you would like us to tackle next week, so we don't have to steal from the Squared Circle Jerks podcast.
I mean, Ryan, you're also you can feel free to in our group text that we text in on a daily basis with each other.
Jim, I feel like I brought the question of the week last week.
You did, but you can also
You're welcome.
You can also suggest other topics as well. It's just a thought.
Let's talk. I don't know. Let's do it right now. Then what should it be, Jim? Most over theme ever.
We already discussed
Yeah,
that.
it's Judas.
Stupid bullshit. Unreal. Fucking hate this podcast so much. I said with 5 minutes into this fucking show, I wanted this to be quick, and now we're after 10 o'clock already.
Oh, it's after 10 o'clock.
God damn it.
WWE announced 25 cities.
Isn't there a Sixers game or something Matt has to be watching?
No, they don't
not
play
till
till
Sunday.
Sunday.
Ah, fuck.
Capitals don't play.
Well, we knew that.
Orioles suck. Phillies, I think they're disappointing this year, correct?
Always.
Every year.
It's not football season yet. Tim, do the Braves play tonight?
I don't know. I don't pay attention until the All-Star break.
Perfect. Is ET showing somewhere tonight at a local tournament?
You can find it on the Superbox. If you have a Superbox, ET's on there. Just
we
look
can't
under
talk
movies.
about that.
Fairly certain that's illegal still, Mark.
We'll get kicked off the air, I think, if we
How about
talk about-
the 90 Day Fiance? You guys caught up on that?
No, we certainly
I won't spoil it for you.
good.
Angela did survive her plastic surgery, though. I'll let you know.
What about Captain No Neck? How's he doing? Is he all right?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm glad you asked, Jim, because
Tim,
on
you
the tell-all,
All right, so WWE announced a 25-city return tour as they get back on the road. Apart from Raw and SmackDown television tapings, they also have Super Show branded house shows. WWE hoping that the combined branded shows, with the people getting back, wanting to get back to see live events, create more ticket demand and ticket purchases than house
Just do
show.
me a favor. Unmute him for a second. I want to hear him. Is he still going?
See where he's at here.
and then I couldn't believe Liz went back to him.
All right, that sounds about right. As Ryan mentioned earlier, AEW officials reportedly chose not to renew contracts for Awesome Kong and Shauna. There was some speculation on Kong and Shauna after their profiles were removed from the AEW roster. It was noted by Fightful Select, word going around as far back as April, said Shauna was not expected back as there were some issues with her and other wrestlers in the company. Regarding Kong, the report noted that her departure was expected by some as she hadn't been working in the coaching role that was originally discussed for her as well. Mark, are you still going, Mark? Here.
So then Ed turns out.
All right. AEW star Joey Janela currently dealing with an injury. Janela took to Twitter this week, announced that he is dealing with an injury. Is not currently medically cleared to compete. He noted that doctors do not know the severity of it yet. He's expecting to be back in the ring in July. He will not be able to compete for GCW this Saturday, Atlantic City, New Jersey, but he will be doing commentary. He also is going to miss his match at the June 19th GCW show in Wyoming, but he is almost 85% sure he'll be able to wrestle on the July 10 GCW card in Dallas, Texas. He last wrestled for AEW on Dynamite last Friday night, losing to Adam Page in a match where it is believed that the injury took place. I also saw he was getting some dental work with Britt Baker. Also, she is a real dentist, apparently. I wish I would have known that. Mark looks like he's exhausted.
What is he saying now?
Mark, what?
And Angela said, "Wake up, Angela! Wake up, Angela!" No.
Okay. All right, he's still going. And then finally, during a Tuesday appearance on Busted Open Radio, new WWE Raw announcer Jimmy Smith talked about his first night with the company. Smith talked about being produced by Vince McMahon and Michael Cole. He said he had Bjorn Rebney yelling at him in Bellator. It happens. Dana White didn't really do it in UFC, but he's dealt with multiple people yelling at him or multiple people talking to him. It wasn't new at all. When Vince hopped on, it was about things that were specific to WWE that he needs to learn that he found helpful. He said every time Vince jumped in, it was in WWE, we say this. It was all helpful. Even though there was 3 different voices, they jumped in at different times. He had Michael Cole in his ear because he was producing. He also had Kevin Dunn and occasionally Vince McMahon. He added that Triple H texted him on Tuesday morning, said, "Great job." And that's what matters. Keeping your gig depends on 4 or 5 key people. If they're all happy this morning, then that is what matters. I thought he did a really good job. Ryan, how did you feel?
He didn't stand out, and that's the key to good commentary.
Yeah.
And I think Verk did. So welcome aboard, Jimmy. Let's see how long it lasts.
Tim, Matt, do you guys enjoy? If you caught any of Raw, I'm not sure if you caught any of Raw this week.
He sounded like he belonged.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
Natural.
Yeah, it's fine.
Mark, did you?
So
what
Colt's
did you
mom then comes out, and they said they had Vanessa and Colt sitting over there on the couch, and Jessica's there, and then Jessica and Colt's mom Debbie start going at it. And Colt's like, "Oh wait,
Mark, you don't want to give away too much.
oh yeah,
They
you guys,
need
if you don't
those,
watch
they
the
need those
tell-all."
Discovery Plus subscriptions. But what did you think about the new Raw commentator, Jimmy Smith? Did you enjoy his work this week?
Jimmy Smith was, I wasn't overwhelmed by him, but he wasn't terrible. So I'll give him a little bit of time. I mean, he was no Big Show Paul White, I'll tell you that. But I think he's going to be all right.
Charlie says his energy was on point. I agree. I think he sounded natural in the role. I think that's
I think he'll be all right.
The best way to put it. Anything else before we close this thing out, guys?
Did you guys want to talk about 90 Day Fiance anymore?
No,
or?
we're good.
No, you really filled us in though. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
that really was insightful.
Well, I hope I didn't give away too much.
No, it was just enough. Just enough.
All right, good.
Mark,
good.
Got anything to plug this week?
Well, Hershey Park's open every day of the week right now, so that's great up through Labor Day. So you can go out there and have some fun riding the coasters and going by the arcade. Ulexi put out some new prizes at the redemption counter this week, so take a look for them. If you make it to the Hershey Park arcade there beside Minetown Vittles. Roots Market is always hopping every Tuesday. Stop by and see Vernon at the Countryside Bakery, formerly Marion's Pies. What else is happening?
I think that's good. You don't want to much like 90 Day Fiance, you don't want to overload the plug.
No, I think we'll leave it at that.
All right.
I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Ryan, got anything?
No, I never have anything going. You can follow me. It's at RYN Eagle. And I apologize. The show probably would have been better if we saved 4 minutes off of each segment.
Matt.
Sorry.
And that is why Ryan is the saltiest member of 3 Count Thursday.
I'm starting to agree.
You can follow me. I think it's still on the screen, so I'm not going to go through it. Go to the 3 Count Thursday Instagram. There is a Woman of the Week every week. This week it is Gisette Ramos. Give them likes, give them shares, give them follows, and support women's wrestling as we try to best we can.
Tim, what do you got?
At Not the Tool Man across all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat if you care. I got TikTok. I don't TikTok, but you can send me your Tiki-Takis. I think they're really funny and interesting. If you enjoy what I have to say here, I do a couple other podcasts. You can catch me at Final Wrestling Place on wherever you get your podcasts. Every week we are breaking down good place and bad place members of stables. Last week we did the NWO, and this week, in honor of the anniversary, we are covering the Nexus, the new Nexus, and the Core. So that should be fun. And we do live reaction podcasts for after every AEW, WWE, and NXT pay-per-view called Viewer's Choice on the North-South Connection. You can follow us there at VC on North-South. It's a good time by all. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. I love each and every one of you. Kiss your homies. And we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports, but make sure you're following the show at 3 Count Thursday, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, go to 3countthursday.com. Of course, always stay up to date on our Wrestler of the Week standings. And you'll find our merchandise, collar and elbow brand deal, and all of that. You can also see it, I believe, on the graphic. Not sure if it's up on the screen or not yet. Just go to 3countthursday.com. Subscribe to the show, all podcast platforms, and as well on YouTube. Until next week, everyone, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the pin. Three Count Thursday is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app. That's arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience. At your favorite sports venue, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order?